How's it going, everyone? My name is the Trading Savage, and today we're going to be leveling up our trading bots with stock news. So as retail investors, it's hard for us to get stock news. The APIs are either very expensive or they just don't exist for us. We all know that professional traders and hedge funds harness real-time stock news for their trading bots to make real-time trading decisions. As soon as Netflix, for example, releases its earnings report, the news has already been relayed to trading bots around the world instantaneously to make investment decisions. As retail investors, how can we compete with these trading bots that have real-time stock news? Well, the answer is, in the United States, any publicly traded company is required to report any significant events in an 8K filing. We can access those 8K filings via SEC's EDGAR platform. The news in the 8K filing might be up to 4 days old, but it's better than any other alternative, any other free alternative in my view so far. So the package we're going to be using today is called EDGAR Tools, and it's going to allow us to retrieve 8K filings via Python. We're going to create a stock news retrieval bot that gets a 8K filing for each ticker and identifies critical events in those 8K filings. It's going to analyze the sentiment in the 8K filings and build a BigQuery table for us. So I'm going to go to my article here, and I'm going to copy all of the code for main.py. And I'm just going to overwrite everything that I have in here already. So you'll notice these two lines, project ID and BigQuery dataset. So I'm just importing these from the Python file called demo secrets. You're going to need to put your first name and your last name and email address in the set identity function to comply with EDGAR's policy. So I've designed a dictionary of lists where each list is keywords that can help us identify the category. So for example, the categories we want to identify would be executive changes, financial updates, and so forth. So using this dictionary, we're able to identify events within the 8K filings. This is the function to get sentiment, and this is a function to adjust the sentiment for 8K events. Now, as you can see in this function, the event type, the event category is going to lead to a sentiment adjustment to the compound sentiment score. So some of these adjustments are going to be positive and some will be negative to result in a adjusted sentiment score. So first, we detect the events in the 8K filing. We get the sentiment score via get sentiment vader. Next, we adjust the sentiment for 8K events. Finally, we return the adjusted sentiment. And this is all within the analyze sentiment function. Next, we are going to get the 8K filings. So what I do is every morning I update a list of morning movers in the S&P in BigQuery. But here, just as a placeholder, I'm just going to use this list of Palo Alto Networks and Tesla. What we're going to do is, for every ticker in the morning movers, we're going to get the latest 8K filing, which is pretty intuitive with EDGAR tools. Next, we're going to analyze the 8K filing and clean up the text so that it can be analyzed efficiently. We're going to analyze the sentiment of the clean text, detect the date of the filing, and we're going to create a list of the ticker, filing date, news, and adjusted 8K sentiment. Our end result is going to be ticker news frame, which we can later on insert into BigQuery. Now, this Ani function, so Ani can be whatever you want. This is how it works. First, it gets the 8K filings. Then I have a BigQuery table called the latest stock news. And what we do is we get the existing stock news in the table. We want to compare that with the updated stock news to see if any of the 8K filings have changed from the previous run to the current run, so that we don't, duplicate rows in the data frame or in the table. After we pull down the existing latest stock news table, we're going to create a comparison news frame where we see if the current news is already in the existing table. Then we look for where the current news is not null and the existing news is null. Then what we want to do is insert this non-duplicated or unique data back into our latest stock news table in BigQuery. And so that's basically how the code works at a high level. So I'm going to show you how to do the next steps. So configure the Dockerfile, requirements.txt, cloudbuild.yaml, and so forth. First, let's get those requirements. So here's our requirements.txt file. Overwrite those. Now that we have main and requirements.txt, let's go into our this Docker file and just copy all of this and replace our Docker file with that. Finally, let's get the cloudbuild.yaml file. So in our cloudbuild.yaml file, we create a Cloud Run application called Ani. But you can change this name to whatever you want. But just know that this comes up multiple times in the Docker or in the cloudbuild.yaml file. Also, you're going to want to change the path to the Docker file. This could be in your root directory or it could be in a subfolder, such as this one. You also may want to change the region and the memory of the container. Now, we have one more step. I'm going to go into my BigQuery and I'm going to create a new data set. I'm just going to call it Trading Savage Dataset. Copy this name, and I'll add this to my demo secrets.py file. Next, I'm going to create a table, and this table can be called Latest Stock News. It's going to have a few different columns. I'm going to add 4 different columns here. So the first one is going to be ticker. Second, filing date, which is the date. Next will be news, which is a string. And finally, adjusted 8K sentiment, which will be a float. And I'm going to create this table. As you can see, there's nothing in the table so far. So first, I'm going to install the requirements. So we can do pip install -r ani/requirements.txt to install all the requirements. Next, I'm going to install Spacey and the English Core Web SM or small model. Next, you're going to want to authenticate into your Google Cloud project. And if you haven't already, you need to install the Google Cloud command line interface into your computer. Then you can use this command to authenticate into your project. I'm going to set my Google Cloud project to Trading Savage Demos. We already did these steps. So our final step is just to run this with Python. So I'm going to do python ani/main.py. click into the URL here. It's not letting me actually click on it, so let's go to this in our browser. So here you can say not found. So what we're going to need to do is just add Ani to the end. And for reference, what you add here, like a slash and then the text, is going to be this app route here. So I called this Ani, but whatever you specify this will be, that's what you need to go to in your browser. Finally, we are going to take a look at the BigQuery table and see if it did anything. I'm going to click refresh, and here you can see it inserted 2 rows into our table with the ticker, filing date, and stock news from the 8K filing. Our stock news bot also analyzed the 8K sentiment and adjusted it for any of the keywords and categories that we have. So now that we have the main.py, requirements.txt, Dockerfile, and the Cloudbuild.yaml file, we can go ahead and deploy this on Google Cloud. So in order to deploy it, here's what I did. I ran gcloud run deploy. Then what it did was it asked for the source code location. So I specified Ani / and period, directing it to this folder. I specified that the service name is Ani. I enabled the APIs that it specified that we need, and I selected US West 1 as the location with 37. Then it says deploying from source, blah, 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 and I said yes. And it says allow unauthenticated invocations to Ani, and I said no. Then it took some time to build the container, and then it finished. It says the service has been deployed and is serving 100% of traffic, and provided the service URL. I went to the Cloud Run, and I see the Ani service has been deployed. So let's test this. Let's see if this works. I'm going to go to I'm going to go to Cloud Scheduler and enable Cloud Scheduler. I'm going to schedule a job. So the first job is going to be schedule Ani. I'm going to choose US West 1. Frequency, let's do 59. Yeah, let's just do anything. So it'll be 59, 0, 21, 6, 5. Time zone, United States. Pacific Daylight Time. Target type, HTTP. Get URL is going to be here. Then I'm going to put Ani at the end to specify that app route. So the app route in the code, when you look at main, is Ani. I'm going to do add OIDC token, and it's going to be the default compute service account. And we don't need any of these for now, so let's create that. Going to go to the logs, and I'm going to invoke Ani with Cloud Scheduler, so force run, and let's see what happens. So now we can see in the logs, it got the 8K filings, Palo Alto Networks, and Tesla. It found mergers and acquisitions in Palo Alto Networks is 8K. And it found that that data was already in the data frame or in the table, BigQuery table. So it didn't really insert anything, and it finished successfully. So we have successfully deployed our Cloud Run application on Google Cloud. Thank you for taking the time to build a stock news bot with me. This really levels up any trading bot, and in terms of free resources that retail traders like us have, this is some of the best in my opinion. So thank you all. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.